have tried to study it and pick it up. And when you Google out there, you might run into a name like Linda Howell, right? And there were a couple of students that took it, the energies that they were taught back in Chicago, and that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about right now. So, um, Linda Howell, and then there was Ed Kami. There were two people that kind of were out of the Chicagoland area that taught that were. This is just one perspective of it, so I don't know how everybody else is learning it, but there's a lot of teachers out there today, and they can charge you, just to give you an idea before I go into the story, anywhere from $100 a level. That's how I was taught a level. And the level one is you learn it about yourself. After you get through level one, you go to level two, and then you go to level three. I have no idea. I think there've been the energy shifts and the level of consciousness. I think there's a level four and possibly a level five out there. Okay, so this is a little personal reflection from me. So I'm in Chicago. I'm about 33 years old, 34 years old, something like that. And I get this flyer that comes across to me, and it talked about the Akashic Records. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. I'm like, Akashic Records? What is that? And then I got additional information that was sent to me. It must have been coming in the mail. That's the only thing I could think of how I got these flyers, right? And I started reading it, but I was drawn to it, right? And that's part of our intuition. It's kind of like when you go shopping, right? You're using your intuition to pick out a tomato or an apple or something like that, and unless you just are not even conscious, you just grab food, right? That's also a level of consciousness too. But with me, when it came to studying energies and stuff like that, and then I had done Reiki. I had gone through the gamut that most people do when they're trying to wake up and learn about energy. And so this flyer comes across a second time, but it was way across Chicagoland area in a town called Evanston, I believe it was. I hope that's what it was. But it was way over there. It's far away from where I was at, and there was no easy way to get to it. Um, and it said like $100. I didn't know if I had an extra $100 to go and study under this. But so I get there, and there's two women that are there, and I had them on my show. If YouTube didn't take down my all my old videos, and I may or may not have it, but I had my teachers on once upon a time, probably about 10 years ago. They were so excited to hear from me again, and what I had actually learned in their show. They remembered how profound it was with myself and others that were in that class. It was amazing. So, that's where I came from, but I when I went there, I was a nervous wreck, right? Where it's something new, and usually when it's something new, with me, I get really the energies, kind of nervousness. It's almost so overwhelming that I don't wanna do it, but I know I have to push myself to go and do this. So, I'm trying to get into the story here for you guys. So, I go in there, and, they start explaining to me that there's this woman by the name of Mary Parker, who basically channeled this prayer to accessing the Akashic records. Okay, and there were two people. Linda Howell was huge out of Chicago, and this other gentleman was Ed Kami, who is now retired. Linda Hugh has got 100 books out there, 100 classes out there, self-taught websites out there. If you want to follow her work, I mean, there's no way that you can avoid her stuff. But I went to these two women, and they said that they learned from Ed, and they were continuing. So Ed would develop these classes, and it was very intense. These are not these you don't take it lightly, and that's how I felt about it. That's why I didn't talk about it a lot, right? The Akashics, it was very sacred to me because of what I went through and what I learned. And so this prayer that was channeled by Mary Parker, and Linda Howell has kind of changed it somewhat. You can get her book out there. I'll talk about the books at the end here. Like I said, it's not going to be a very long show, but yeah. So basically, it was accessing higher wisdom through this prayer, and that's where I'm kind of going with this, and it was so powerful for me. And the people that were in this group here, there wasn't a lot. They When you do the Akashic Records class, The energies are so overwhelming. It should only be a small class. And it should be with the people in the room. People today don't do that. There's a lot of different changes. I can't say whether that's good or bad. Energy is energy. As you see here, this picture over here that I have up on the screen is after pacing himself between two arcing transformers. He reportedly saw the future, past, present, simultaneously. Energy is energy, and however that you get it, it's not right or wrong. It's who you are and how you access it and how you are wired. Okay, and this person that I'm actually talking about is Nicholas Tesla, right? And then if you are also, I'm going to do a little sidebar here. I'll come right back to this. If you're out on X, what is Trump posting all day long? John Trump, Nikola Tesla. There's something that there's a message out there, and it's up to you to decode it yourself. Please, people, stop listening to other people decode things and you know try to sway you into their way of thinking. You have your own wiring. You have your own way of accessing all this information. You might not see it. They may help you trigger it, but you might get the message a little bit differently. And that's where I'm saying you have to come into your own power, your own energy. So I'm going to explore a little bit later, if not today, possibly tomorrow, the cosmic library and the sacred glimpse in how it should be accessed. Okay, like if you have books out there, I'm not paying attention to the chat right now because I want to stay on focus with where I'm going with this. But if I don't do the deep dive today, it'll be done sometime this week. So yeah, so if you want to, again, zoom in and look at the energies, so you have, and we have energy all around us. And then we're being told that the computers and electronics, the EMFs, all that other stuff, you know, hinder us and stuff like that. Yeah, so that this is what we have to do. We talk about clearing energy and stuff like that. There's just so much to it. It's it's very personable, is what I feel. And it was very personal for me. It was very powerful and personal for me. I talked about the golden light. If you haven't ever heard that story, what I saw, and it was very beautiful. So yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about my training at a high level, and which I just did here. And also, the Akashic Records is also called the Book of Light. It's a cosmic library. It's the Akashic Records. It holds thoughts, action across timelines. And people are so excited to hear about that. And then right away, they're going to jump in and say, "Oh, I'm going to turn on YouTube and learn from this teacher." And there's tons of people out there selling their classes and doing what they have to do to try to help you understand that your soul and your universe are rooted in ancient Akashic, meaning the ethers. That's what Akasha, and with an A, is all about. It's the skies, it's the ethers. Um, my belief, some of my training has changed over the years. Mind you, it's been 25 years later, and and um, I in how it changed. So I'm going to tell you this right now. Like I said, tomorrow I'm probably going to get into more in depth, more deep dive. But I used an Akashic deck. I actually, if you guys don't recall seeing me probably 2 years ago, I went on Tarot by Janine show. I talked about the Akashic Records, how I read the energies. I was actually booked for 6 months from all the people that watched her. And these Akashic record readings should be done one on one. They're usually about 90 minutes, and they're very in depth. But there's a lot of studies that go into it, a lot of thought that you have to do. There's a lot of preparation, and some teachers out there won't take it if you don't follow their guidelines and what you need to do to prepare for the reading. And so those were my teachers. They basically just didn't come in and just sit down and look at you and give you the past, present, and the future. They were pulling information from you, and it was all about intention. That's how I was taught. Some of it has changed after a while, and and that with me, it's changed. Then I went to the tarot cards, and then I had people, even some of my teachers, call me up and say, "How could you be doing this in a very short amount of time? This is very sacred, you know." And I was like, "Am I breaking some sort of sacred rule training that I had?" And I thought, "No, I'm changing. The energies are changing. I was basically doing some very short readings for people, but also I was going back to the 90-minute readings, you know, with some of the people out there, and I kind of walked away from that altogether, and then I just started to use my own intuition for my own life and stuff like that. But like I said, it was there was three levels of, and then after you go through the first level, they have you do something, and I'll kind of give you a short story here. Level one is basically understanding yourself, and it's a lot of writing, a lot of journaling. And people didn't like that; they didn't get it. They wanted the short clip version of it, and that's why I kind of switched to it to give them a taste of it and to see if they would come back for the longer version. I had a few people that would come back and constantly work on themselves, and then it just all kind of went away. When it went away, I said, okay, either I changed, something is changing, the energies are changing, and like I said, I kind of used the tarot cards, but I was using my intuition. I was still channeling information as I normally do. And I was doing the same thing that I was doing when I was taught when I was going through my education. I saw their ego, I saw their light, I saw when they developed their ego at a certain age. I saw the situation, the incident, the trauma, whatever it may have been. That information never went away. That was my core of seeing information for you. And I studied that and I said, why would I have to go 2 hours, an hour on this if I can let you know that I know what I know about you and see if you want to come back and get healed or work with your own healing or you heal thyself. Okay. And so that's kind of like what I wanted to tell you there. So I just basically wanted to tell you my story, and there was so much more behind that. I did have my Akashic Records teacher stay with me for a little bit, taught me so much. I told you stories. I give you bits and pieces of my life and the energies of around the Akashic. I told you a story about the body scan and how my teacher said you are the body scan, and that, to me, that was profound. Even though you might say, "Well, this, of course he's going to say that or whatever," but it, it's one of these things that I believe because how I read energy, right? You have Carolyn Mace out there. They scan the body, they scan the chakra. She was a medical intuitive. She could see why you may have a kidney problem or a heart problem and where that stemmed from. It's all energy, right? It's all tracing the symptom backwards, and you could do it energetically. And we are now at that point. I think that we are self-diagnosing. We talked about the pendulum, the book. So many of you guys were interested in the book and buying it. I think some of you did buy it. And that's a part of your tools that you need. And then all of a sudden, after a while, you realize how intuitive that you are. You're watching this, you're just watching the energies. I just want to keep it that way. All right. So, yeah, so we talk about there's a cosmic library out there, and that's just the visualization out there, however anybody sees it. I never gave bad information. I never, I was never given something, traumatic that, if I saw how you were when you were younger, if something traumatic happened, I would let you know with various images that I get what they were sharing with me. So, I always felt like I was in the light. I was working with your light, and that is basically, how I work with the energies, and over time. So when we were going through, everybody was going through the vax at one time. I basically was told not to go into the future with a lot of different things. There was so much chaos. There was so much things that we needed to deal with just in now, today, in the moment, and that's what I have. So we talk about sovereignty, right? And sovereignty is something that people have said, "Oh, you're born with sovereignty," but people actually believe it. And so let me just see here. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that sparked my gut feeling and understanding it. I have a really cool story that I'm going to share with you tomorrow about reading one man's energy in the room. And years later, I actually touched base with my teacher that came on to my show here when it was Turn the Page with her sister, two remarkable teachers. I looked them up yesterday. I can't find them. I think they're retired. So at that time, I was in my 30s. I think they were probably in their 50s. So it's been 20 years. They're probably retired from it, as most of my teachers are. Again, I talked about Linda Howell. So Linda Howell and Ed basically went through the teachings from Mary Parker, who basically had this very powerful prayer to access the records. And it was very sacred. You use a prayer to open the records and you use a prayer to close the records. And if you're interested in getting a book, maybe we could all do this together. I'm going to show you Linda Howell's book, and it's How to Read the Akashic Records, Accessing the Archives of the Soul and Its Journey. And it's called Akashic Records. And this is the book. Okay. It's Linda Howell. Like I said, I've got a lot of bookmarked things that I had read when I started to put a class together. I followed the book. I read her book. I said it's very similar to Ed's teaching and Mary Parker's teaching. You can find a little bit out there on it. Then my husband was kind one Christmas because he knew I started talking about reading Akashic Records again. Again, my story goes when I met my husband, I didn't tell him that I was into all the woo woo stuff until a few years afterwards. And I started pulling out everything I had, all my books in a bin, hit it, just put it away. I don't know. There was some reason that I just closed everything, if you will. And then you open it up again. And we need those downtimes, right? So this book he bought, I think it was like 40, $50. Look at how thick it is. It's huge. It's called the Akashic Record Master Class. This is by Cheryl Marlene. I don't like it. I'm going to tell you that right now. And there's a lot of books out there that I will tell you that I like. This one is all over the place, and it's too much. It is way too much. So yeah, it's a lot. She breaks it down. I think it would have been better if she broke it down into multiple books, but you put it all the one. Like there's a lot of things that you want to do. You need to open up your Akashic records and ask questions. Okay, she's got this from Mary Parker's teaching, and that's what happens is as time goes on, generation after generation, and I just think that this is a really good book. There's visualization is so important with the Akashic records. Remember, I was telling you that I would see a lot more visualization. I don't see that as much. Visualization is very important in questions and intention. So there you guys go. I just wanted to share those books with you. I'm going to come back to you and see. Let's see how much time are we on. So we've got I got 23 minutes into this, and let's see. If any of you guys are interested in wanting to hear more about this, I'd be glad to put it together for you. That was my introduction to the Akashic Records. That's only a small snippet part of it. I did go through all levels. Level 3, like I said, there's level 4 and level 5. I tried to go into another teaching probably about 3 years ago with somebody that that took another class from my teachers. And to be honest with you, I walked away. I closed the. It was done through like a Zoom. I told the woman I wanted my money back, and it was awful. It was probably the most heavy energy, which when you're in the Akashics, you're in light and love, and I didn't get that. And so she did give me my money back, and that's what you need to do if you're with a teacher and you're just not feeling it. Let them know because if they're a good teacher, they'll honor it for you. Let's see. Yeah, so again, one of the most sacred tools is the opening prayer or a pathway. And other people refer to it. It's an invitation to access the records. Um, and how does this actually tie into the Independence Day, the fireworks, the soul level freedom? Well, it is all connected, and I will tell you that. So whether you felt freedom externally from all the things that you were doing, the flag, the partying, just the celebration, the fireworks in Washington D.C. was unbelievable. Why 800,000 shells were set off? Were they doing some sort of a cleansing? You tell me, what were your thoughts on that? It was the most beautiful thing that I ever seen, and I watched it. The next day. There was so many delays, right? With Mercury retrograde, it rained in DC. Trump was out there at one point standing in the rain. It was lightning, and he was telling people you all had to leave because they didn't want anybody getting hurt. A lot of his guests left, and a lot of them couldn't make it back in. There were so many people there, and that's part of our country. We stand up and we celebrate no matter what. And it was all connected. It really was. Were we creating a new record? You better believe it. You better believe it. If it resonates in what you saw, and you gave gratitude, and it was about our country, it was about our independence. I always say fourth, and that's, in my mind, fourth is independence. Fourth of July is independence altogether, but you have to really use the vibrational frequencies of the word Independence Day, and so and you know it was so much more. A lot of people were expecting, all you decoders out there were expecting so much more to come of it. You hope you get what you were expecting, and um, from the information out there, the truth. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that. The truth is your truth, and let's see here. What else do I have? What else would I want to share with you? I do want to share another 5 minutes with you or so. I want to talk about all the symbolisms. We talked about the symbolisms of the deep state will be their downfall. What are our symbolisms? We have to get rid of all that other shit. I'm telling you, we have to kind of talk about our symbolism. Washington, D.C. is filled with statues and monuments that serve our physical archive of American history. And it's our collective memory. You talk about collective consciousness. What about our collective memory? It's tangible, and it echoes the Akashic records. It's esoteric. It's a cosmic library of all events, thoughts, and knowledge across. So let's talk about the first one, right? So, what is the works that capture humanity's past, the old statues? What is symbolic? What is the civic meaning, esoteric symbolism, and stuff like that. So the first one that comes to mind is the Washington Monument, 1884, 555 feet, um, and it honors George Washington. A lot of people have taken that and made it demonic over time. But what was lit up the whole time with sayings and pictures and videos was the George Washington Monument. It symbolizes strength, enlightenment. It's our solar shaft, male, female energies. It balances the esoteric views. It's a towering record keeper. It anchors the nation's founding in stone like an Akashic pillar of light, recording independence and leadership. So, whatever you were told back in the day, 10 years ago, about these monuments, let's take it and change the symbolism. The next one is Lincoln Memorial, 1922, seated Lincoln. Lincoln figures, and it's basically symbolizes justice and union. It inscribes speeches, emancipation, unity, division, after division, and moral courage. It's a guardian of historical truth and soul level freedom, echoing the Akashic access of the past of lessons for healing the national karma, our nation's karma. Jefferson Memorial emphasized liberty, democracy, pursuit of knowledge, inscriptions from his writings, and highlights the Enlightenment ideas. statue of National Archives, right? It's a massive figure. It's like the past, the future, and the heritage of our guardianship. Literal watchers and defenders of knowledge. This directly invokes the Akashic theme for protection of humanity of our record stories. Um, Martin Luther King Memorial, 2011. These are some of the newer statues in additions. Do you know that Trump put up a lot more statues out there? Stone of Hope emerging from the mountain of despair. It quotes the MLK emphasized justice in the dream fulfillment. It's symbolic. It's very symbolic. It's a monitored record of civil rights, evolution, and the soul awakening. It's breaking the pattern of the collector higher consciousness. Another one is World War II, Vietnam, Korean War Memorial. It's a statue of the soldier. It's stainless steel figure of World War II. It symbolizes sacrifice, unity, and the records a collective of trauma and heroism, akin to the Akashic entities of the human conflict and resilience. A couple more, Freedom Plaza. The Freedom Plaza, it's a new bronze statue. It's from 2026 for America 250. Have you guys seen these? Have you looked into them? I actually want to go to DC. I was talking to my husband about it. I want to go there. I want to see all the new stuff, feel the new energy, out with the old, in with the new. It was all changed. Did you guys feel the shift? All right, so including the revolution figures like Caesar Rodney, a soldier in a civic tableau, that updates historical records of the 250th anniversary. It's blending the old ideas with contemporary reflection. Some controversial for including in slaver, but it's a Freedom Plaza edition. Let's see, what else do we have out there? There was, okay, DC Statues functions is a record of history. It's a 3D Akashic library. Enlightenment in access. I'm just going to highlight the guardian of knowledge is the tower. Enlightenment figures, Washington Jefferson, hidden layers, esoteric interpretation, see, that type of thing. And that's what I have to share with you. You want to talk about the Akashics? You have to understand where we came from and where we're going. And I think that we just did. I hope that you felt that way also. So I'm going to just take a minute here and come back and see what you guys are up to. And Dragon Wings 369. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to the chat with you guys this morning. Really want to focus on my message. I hope you appreciate this and let me know if you want to continue this. So, intention. Time will take us back to the symbolism and put our loving intention into it. Dakota says, blessing everyone. And we've got somebody out on Rumble. How are you doing? Leah out there. Hey, Leah, how are you doing, sweetie? Change from the negative to the positive. We can do that. It's very powerful. You better believe it. We have Arnie's in the house. Hey, Arnie, how are you? GW, yeah, it's our history. So let me put that back up there where Arnie is saying Freemason. You can't sit there and take away our history. It's no different. See, when I see this, the first thing that I get emotional because everybody's got to point out the Freemason bullshit. It's still part of us, right? It's kind of like the people out there that the Antifas that were going around tearing down our statues, trying to get rid of, wipe out things. I'm not saying that Arnie is he's making a note out there that GW was a Freemason. Everybody was something at some particular time, and it's all the intention behind the energies, right? And so that's where I'm kind of going with that. Um, and so we have to take a look and we have to understand the energies behind everything. If you want to understand the Akashics, if you want to be a reader, I'm not sure if you do or not, but this is kind of like where I'm kind of going with it. Dragon Wings out there 369 says, my truth says the dark ones at the top and the mid levels are long gone. Yeah. Um, Yeah, there's a lot of changes that are actually happening in DC. You guys are talking about the ballroom out there. Yeah, I definitely see that. I love to have access to the Akashic records. You got to take a class, for a teacher. I tried doing this with Kristen Lee, and it didn't go the way that I wanted. It didn't go the way that she wanted to. She thought she was attacked by dark energies at one point, and I think we had when you do this over Zoom, I'm old fashioned. The way that I taught, I'd like to teach again, intimate room with people in the room, but everybody's doing it differently today. And let me tell you, when you've got a lot of people with their intentions wanting to access the Akashic records, the energies in the room are so powerful. It'll bring you to levels that you would never imagine. Now, can you get that over the Zoom? Can you? Maybe you can. I don't know. I tried it. We did have a couple of classes. Some people um, didn't care for the way that I was teaching it, but you have to understand this is a discipline. This is not a 30-minute clip that you're going to get access into the Akashic records. I didn't do it that way. Maybe the energies have shifted. Like I said, I'm kind of sometimes I can get stuck in my own ways. I have no idea. It's different for everybody. Well, and I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm going to tell you a certain story about seeing the golden light when I was reading somebody, and I touched base with my teacher on that and who he was and how powerful he was. Let's see here. Okay, so that's what I have for you, everybody. And I wasn't dissing what Arnie is saying. Yes, there were so many Freemasons. I walked through my town here. You could see the old Freemason buildings. It was all about that, right? That's a whole different show. The different cults, the different energies. People wanting to gain access to power. That's what this country was built on. You really have to understand that. And do you accept it or do you dismiss it? Because I dismiss Hollywood. I dismiss Hollywood people. I won't watch any of their movies because I know what I believe I was told about them. And let me just tell you, if you're out on X today, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that's opening up about all of that stuff. So I'm trying to stay away from it. I don't want that energy because that is energy. You sit there and you look at these images over and over again and you read this information, you're going to go and pick up some of this stuff in your energy. Let's see here. Dragon Wing says not all Freemasons were bad. No, they weren't. Um, they were not. We have Colleen out there. She says she's also interested in ley lines. Anybody out there wants to come onto my channel that wants to talk about a particular subject matter, you are more than welcome to do that. I'd be glad to have you on here. Let's see here. I usually have Allison on here in the morning. I didn't hear back from her. I think I saw her out there. Yeah, transmute the energies, says Allison. There she is. So, hey, Allison, how are you doing? Um, I was hoping to hear back from you, but we could always catch up this week if you like to come back on. Let's see what else here. Look at Ernie says. I'm going to put his statements up here. Look how fast people forget. Narratives always change and how fast we all forget. I don't think we forget. I think the energies change and then they need to be known and then fixed. It's almost as if fixed. That's a really interesting word, fixed. Once you write a record, it's there. Can you change that record? That's a deep question for each of you to ask yourself. How do you change that record? Um, Past, present, and future. Look at it that way. Fixing something. I don't even know how to answer that one. It's not coming to me. Um, yeah, and the cool thing about it is each and every one of you that are here, and I'm going to read what Dragon Wings is saying. Stay strong. We're all born for this. We were definitely born for this. Just like Tesla. Which way am I pointing here? I'm trying to get to that picture there. Um, yeah, and let's see. Arnie's got another statement out there. It says this country was built over a past civilization. A lot was then found by the next civilization. Uh, Melissa it says it's with everything 10% bad. F. Mason destroy 90% others. Transmute the energies. Um, okay, just for an example, you just kind of take a look at what we've gone through in the last administration, what they showed us, all the evilness, and now this administration. Is something being fixed or is the energies changing? See, the word fix, I guess I'm struggling with, but we change the energies. We become aware. We don't forget. Nobody forgets. You know, it's kind of like everybody's saying in what New York City and is that we forgot 9/11 and what who because people are believing that those planes were drove flown in by the Muslims and now look what's running the country. You don't forget, you change the energies. You put different it's like playing chess, right? You gotta move your pieces around, right, to change the energies. I'm trying to think of a really good example of changing the energies, right? You walk into a room, you had a bad night's sleep, you walk into a room, you're feeling heavy energies, and then you're in a room full of people that have joy and love and all that. That's changing. Your energy will change with that energy. You're picking up those vibrations and those frequencies. I always want to bring you back to that. So are the frequencies being fixed or are the frequencies being changed? Let's see here. I also want to talk about people are talking about CERN being turned off. We got to talk about that a little bit. And I know I've gotten away from the Akashics, but think about the energies. It all comes back to the energies, you guys. Um, it says, I haven't been sleeping well. Sorry about that, Janine. Who's that? Alley Cat? Oh, Alley Cat. No, don't ever apologize, Alley Cat. When you're ready, you're ready, and you just let me know. Everybody enjoys us together as I do. I always tell her after a text, I had so much fun. And so, okay, we're talking about the energies, and this is good. This is really good with all of you guys. A lot of times I think I want to get in there and just kind of do my little what I have in my head and talk to you guys about it. But I'm really made up of integrating with you guys into the chat. I want to integrate my energy into the chat with you guys and put each and every one of you up here. Because you all have a statement and it means something. Leah says, some things don't get corrected and they fall through the cracks. But do they really? It's like a lie. Do you think that a lie it never comes to fruition of us knowing about it? I don't know if I truly believe that is a strong statement. Maybe. You guys let me know. And this is really good. Then we have Colleen out there says the energies are definitely changing. Yeah. So they talked about CERN. Let me get back to that. I brought it up. And a lot of people are saying, is everybody sleeping better? They turned off CERN. And I don't, I never gave it a lot of thought. What do you guys think? That's just another question to throw out there for you. Ellie Cat says shifting energy. You better believe it. We are all shifting energies. I was so happy the 4th of July, just watching those fireworks, the grand finale. I mean, it lit me up in my living room. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but it was like freedom. People were dancing, singing in the streets. Let me kind of go through something over here for 1 second. Just bear with me. 1 second. And oops, I went the wrong way. How come that never works for me? Okay, let's kind of get back to this. I guess I'm just going to have to close this out and show you a few things. Um, well, what do we got here? I've got to be very careful. I'm can't play a lot of things out here. There was a ringing of the bells, and I would love to talk about bells with you if any of you want to talk about the bells, the energy of the bells, so on and so forth. But for the first time ever, POTUS rang the New York Stock Exchange opening bell from the Oval Office. Talk about energy shifting. We're there, folks. We are definitely there. You talk about this is Scott Hamill ice skating out there with the American flag. You talked about everybody flyovers. It was just one thing after another. I get goosebumps just watching this thing. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is a tall ship parade in New York Harbor to celebrate America 250. It was unbelievable what was happening out there, you guys. You have to know. You have to know that a lot shifted. This is what it's all about. World War II veterans left their homes over 80 years ago to protect American freedom, to save the world from evil. So, you talk about things were evil out there. Yeah, you can't dismiss it. You've got to talk about what overwrote, what energies kind of dulled the old energies. I don't I'm trying to come up with a word for that, but yeah, that's what is actually happening. And who was behind all this? Who was Dr. John G. Trump of MIT? What did he discover? Family matters, right? He's talking about his family out there. He's putting stuff out there to let us become more and more aware. By signing the Declaration of Independence, the 56th American pledged their lives and fortune in sacred honor. This is another monument that's out there. I want to go to DC. Who wants to go with me? Because this is really important to take this trip to go back. Last time I was there, I was in eighth grade. I remember the Gettysburg Tower, we climbed it. That's where I found out I was afraid of heights. Couldn't come back down. I had to have a teacher guide me all the way down. I was talking to my husband. He's never been there. He's the second generation here from where his family came from. And I said, let's make that trip. Let's do it. I think we're going to do it. I plan on going there. Don't teach your children to read. Teach them to question what they read and teach them to question everything. That was George Carlin. Let's see here. All the fun that was out there, right? It was just one thing after another. And I don't want to show this guy here, but let me just go back to my bookmarks. These are the energies that cancel out the old energies. America is back again. Yeah. This was America. I got to make sure that that sound is off. And for some reason, when I open it up, the sound comes on. I don't want to get dinged again. I'll get taken down. So yeah, this isn't Boston, you guys. It happened once before. Mercury retrograde. It's happening again. The energies, the Akashic energies. Are we rewriting the records? Are we fixing the records? I don't think that we are fixing them. I think that we are changing them. We are changing the energies. So let me just kind of show you this here. This to me, this is the kind of stuff that we're here for. If you guys aren't feeling the love from this kind of stuff, this is Abraham Lincoln, 16th president of the United States. All right, so let's just see here. Let's see. Oh, Dragon Wing says I would love to go to DC. I'm there with you, girl. Um, yeah, the sailing of the old ships were so beautiful. If you guys haven't seen it, look up this stuff. Don't be looking up other stuff that people are out there just spewing. And that's the only thing I could say. Kathy's making a statement about the certain people that don't like the bells. Yeah, they hit them all. They definitely hit them all. And people are burying them as we speak. Scott Pace is out there. Hello, Scott. How are you doing? Um, let's see here. Okay. So, I think that is everything there. Then they're doing so much with AI out there. It's amazing. It really is. It is really amazing. And of course, then there's the cleanup afterwards. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it took them a week and a half, I think, to set up all those shells out there. It'll take them 2 weeks to clean it all up, but my goodness, um, it was just remarkable, and I hope you guys did enjoy this, and I sure hope that you guys stayed safe because there was a lot of people didn't stay safe, and I don't want to show that, but yeah. Yeah, this is America, and it'll continue on. The energies just don't go away. They might kind of come down a little bit. People will start to get back to their normal lives, get back to work, and so on and so forth. But wow, what a weekend! All right. That's what I have for you guys. I'm at my hour here. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to put some clips out there. And if you want me to talk more about the Akashics, go into some of the books. I can do that. Otherwise, I'll just leave it up to you to do your own research. Probably we'll talk a little bit about the Akashic Record one tomorrow if you want that. And also look forward to next week. I've got my guest coming back on to do some more cards, and it is Jen Ryder. She. I think we're going to talk about the energies of the Fourth of July, and we'll see. We'll see what's going on. So the energies will be completely different tomorrow. There's a lot that's actually happening here. Um, and if Alley Cat wants to come back tomorrow, she's more than welcome to. Um, you know, it, and I'll just wait for her to text me. You guys let me know. Haven't seen those since I can't find them here. Oh, so you can't find a lot of those pictures out there? Charlene and Kathy and are saying yes, please. Yeah, I want to talk about this book. If you want to research the book ahead of time and think this might be for you, it's Linda Howell. It's the Akashic Records. She's written so many books out there. This will be a good one. I think maybe tomorrow I will go into this since you guys are asking for it. Let me just kind of, it's just it's not just another energy. It's something near and dear to my heart. But let's see here. Um, so she doesn't give a lot of credit to Mary Parker, which surprises me. Maybe she has done that in other books, but I know who she is. I had options to choose her, um, but a lot of people back in my day didn't want to study under her because she changed so much. It doesn't matter if it's changed as long as the teachings come across, and she brought her way into the teachings, her energy, her knowledge, her channeling. And that's what I'm saying to you is that sometimes things do change, but as long as you're in the light and love and light, and I'll just leave it at that. So, it's all about the questions. She talks about the kind of questions. It's a very small paperback. Look her up. Get it if you want to. Otherwise, I'm going to bring you through her book, talk about some things with you guys tomorrow. Thank you all. Kathy is saying, what time zone do you post? Okay, so when you asked about the time zone, if I post at 9 a.m. and you're on the East Coast, your time zone should show up at 10 a.m. It really doesn't matter where I'm at as long as you have me subscribed. If you're out on Rumble, it might be a little bit different, but I'm going to go with the 9 o'clock again. 9 o'clock gave me enough time to have my coffee, sit down, think about, go in my little meditation of how I'm going to present to you guys, so on and so forth. So I'll set it up for 9 o'clock. um, yeah. Oh, what is this? Oh, thanks, Janine. Mary is saying what? Thank you, Jean. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and blessings. Yeah, thank all of you guys. Please stay safe out there. And if you got any other thoughts, please email me. Put them in the chat after this is recorded. If you have questions about stuff you want me to talk about, I'd be glad to do that with you on the Akashics. There's so much of it. This is I can't cover it all unless you go through a class, and I'm going to show you where you can take classes. Yeah, I'll show you the websites that are out there. Be careful if you're out there searching for people on YouTube. That's all that I can say. I've got one website I know that is credible, that maybe you can look it up if you want to take it. I don't teach this anymore. My last time I did try to teach it, it didn't go over really well. If you are in the Gulf Shore, Orange Beach, Foley area, I will teach it to you in my home. But if you're not, I won't teach it to you. And it is very cool when you're with somebody with those energies. All right. Thank you guys. Take care. God bless.